Good morning, beloveds. Foster came in. Whether or not he will make, well, you got to see the tip of his tail. All right. Okay. I'm going to take a deep breath. Maybe you should take a deep breath too. All right. We are Science Mind Text, Part 5, from the teaching of Jesus. And we are starting on 460 with God turns to us when we turn to God, which is Luke 15. The parable of the prodigal son constitutes one of the greatest spiritual lessons in the history of religious education. It is an attempt on the part of God, the great teacher, to show that God turns to us when we turn to God, that there is a reciprocal action between the universal and the individual mind, that the Spirit is ready to help us whenever we turn to it. The greatest lesson we have to learn is the unity of love and law, the necessity of the law in shaping a divine individuality, and the necessity of experience in awakening this divine individuality. God is love, and God is law. The love of God is omnipresent, and the law of God is omnipresent. The love of God is the divine givingness, the eternal outpouring of spirit through its creation. The law of God is the law of cause and effect, which says that we can have only what we take. Since this taking is a mental and spiritual as well as physical act, we can take only that to which we are receptive. Jesus taught that it is done unto us as we really believe. The thought is ever father to the act. And that is a quote. I have no idea where from. It's in quotes. So, you may be able to Google it and figure out. Ernest does not cite his sources. And honestly, and I forget which book it is. And if somebody knows, please feel free to put it in the comments. In one of Ernest's books, he does this beautiful, teaching on the prodigal son. It's really, really, really good. If you ever want to really dig into that, Ernest does a beautiful job of taking the story apart and saying, hey, look, here's how that story can apply to your life. Because he deals with both of the sons, and he may be about to do that here because there's another paragraph, but he deals with the son who took his inheritance and went off and spent it, and then comes home, and then he deals with the other son who's like, wait, I've been here the whole time. What's this all about? And the father looks at him and says, you had this the whole time. You didn't do anything with it. I mean, he's a little gentler about it than I was, but, than I just was. But, so it's really interesting. It's like, it's like both are true. Both are true. Both sons inherit everything, have everything. And the one who was there and did the work wasn't partaking of the abundance either. The one took his abundance, went off and blew it. And the one who stayed had all of that abundance and wasn't partaking of it. And so both sons are important to the story. All right. So he says the next section is the two sons. In presenting the parable of the prodigal son to his listeners, Jesus began by saying that the Father, which is the universal spirit, had two sons, meaning that as the child of God, people have the right of self-choice. This carries with it the possibility of an apparent duality, but of course not a real one, and the possibility of experiencing good and evil. Moses referred to the same thing when he said that he had set a blessing and a curse before the children of Israel, and they must choose whom they would serve. The two sons referred to in the story allegorically denote the two states of consciousness necessary to real individuality. People are conscious. Wait, hang on. A person is a conscious no self-knowing mind equipped with volition and choice. They are an individual and can do as they choose. And that's what gets us into trouble, right? That idea of free will. It's like, yeah, you can do whatever you want. The problem is you're gonna suffer the consequences. There's a t-shirt I saw it the other day, yesterday, and it was the guy, the social media creator is an introvert, and it says, have the day you deserve. Okay. And if you say that to somebody, it tells you a lot about their consciousness. If you say, have the day you deserve. Well, if you're, a good person, relatively clear, don't have anything sitting in, that you're feeling guilty about, have the day you deserve would be a good thing. It wouldn't necessarily be an ominous threat, but if you're dealing with somebody with a guilty conscience and you say have the day you deserve, they might take it as a threat. So, free will, people. We get to choose. That means we get to make the wrong choice and learn from it, hopefully. All right. God does not argue. This is Luke 15, 11 through 32. Ooh. Okay. Ooh, you know what? This is about to get long and messy. Okay, we're still going to start it. All right, God does not argue. Luke 15, 11 through 32. A certain man has 2 sons, and the younger of them says to his, we're still in the prodigal son. Okay. Says to his father, Father, give me the portion of goods that falleth to me. And he divided unto them his living. When the younger son asked for his portion of good, God did not argue with him, did not try and dissuade him, did not suggest that he was using bad judgment. God never argues. To argue is to suppose an opposite, and God has no opposite. We argue to arrive at a correct conclusion. God is already the correct conclusion of all things. Therefore, God does not need to argue. Plotinus tells us that nature never argues, that it contemplates itself, that its contemplation creates a form through which it may become expressed. Undoubtedly, this is the whole meaning and process of creation. And he divided unto them his living. There was no argument. God did not tell the son that it would be far better for him to remain at home. He did not say that he might come to want and suffer, perhaps starve. He did not sell him anything. Oh no, he did not tell him anything. It was like, sell. He divided unto them his living. The universe gives us what we ask. Experience alone will teach us what is best to have. He divided unto them their living. Wait, what? Hang on. I may have gotten off a line here. Let me go back. No. He repeated the line. Okay, I'm not crazy. Well, I am, but not in this case. Okay. No clearer statement of individuality could possibly be inferred from this. The son received exactly what he asked for, no more and certainly no less. The cup of his acceptance was filled from the universal horn of plenty, and he could do with it as he chose. Okay, so the next one is the far country. This may be the teaching on the prodigal son that I was thinking of, but I know I've read it in another one of his books too. So this is called the far country. And not many days after, the younger son gathered all together and took his journey into a far country, and there wasted his substance with riotous living. When the son had received his share of goods, he went into a far country. We are all in this far country, for it symbolizes the descent of the soul, or the outer rim of spiritual existence. It does not mean a place, but rather a state of consciousness. If God is omnipresent, we cannot escape the divine presence. So this far country means a state of consciousness which has separated itself from the eternal good. The true meaning, I believe, of the far country would be a conscious separation from God, an isolated state, one in which there appears to be no remembrance of God as an actual living and ever-present reality, one where a person feels themselves to be separated and entirely apart from the eternal good. This far country has a real meaning today, has as real a meaning today as it had in the hills of Galilee nearly 2,000 years ago. For all of us have come from heaven, and nearly all feel the isolation of this seeming apartness from the eternal good. Indeed, the whole endeavor of humanity is to return to the Spirit's house. Oh, okay. So one of the things that I'm noticing is, if I'm like reading along and my brain is like substituting in words, and I'm like, because isolated was the word and I substituted in a different one. And I'm just like, it's one of the reasons why when you see those tests, where sometimes they rearrange letters in words, you don't notice. Because your brain just kind of automatically does it for you. And it's just, occasionally I'm like, well, why did my brain pick that word? Why did I assume that was the word? And then I'll go back and look at it and go, that's not the word that was there. Let me fix that. All right. But the far country, that's interesting. And one of the things that Ernest talks about a lot is consciousness. And, because heaven is a state of consciousness. Hell is a state of consciousness. This belief in the isolation from God is a state of consciousness. We can never, it always reminds me of I believe it's a Nasruddin story. No, it's not a Nasruddin story, but it does come out of the Muslim tradition, the Islam tradition, where an imam gave his students a chicken and said, kill it where God can't see you. And one of the students brought the living chicken back and said, there's nowhere God can't see me. And the imam went, and you've got the lesson. So the far country it's a state of consciousness where we feel isolated from God, where we feel separated from God, but it is not the truth of our being. It's reality with a little r, not reality with a capital R. And it's one of the things that we're constantly working on. To heal that feeling of separation. And it might be interesting to go back, I don't know if you can figure it out, like where in your life did you first feel that separation? I keep seeing the meme that said, I'm sorry for the person that you loved that made you feel unlovable. That's kind of that thing. It's like, who are we substituting for God? Who in our life was difficult, and then we turned around and applied that to God, because that's where it's a good idea to remember that God's not a personality, that God is not a anthropomorphs, as Jim Palmer likes to call him, the big sky God, the big accountant in the sky. That's not what God is. God is more akin to energy. Not that we're ever going to be able to describe God because the concept is too big. But, there's nothing up there keeping an account of us. The only one keeping an account of us is us. And occasionally the people around us. But, in the long run, their account of us doesn't matter. It's the account that we're keeping of ourselves. And if we feel like we need to balance our ledger, what's that about? Yeah, that's a thought to think about. It's like, what's in your ledger and what do you feel like you're constantly trying to make up for? And can you make up for it? Or maybe you just need to forgive yourself and move on and not do it again. Okay. So I got 3 minutes. Okay. Why we are not in want. There wasted his substance with riotous living. And when he had spent all, there arose a mighty famine in the land, and he began to be in want. When one separates themselves from the divine fire, they become an isolated spark. We are strong only when united with life. As soon as our consciousness is detached from spiritual wholeness, we can no longer draw from that inexhaustible reservoir of eternal existence. So we become exhausted. There is nothing to fall back upon. Life is one perfect wholeness. The universe is a unit. God is one. Okay, he's about to shout at us. This next sentence is all in caps. It is impossible for people to feel separated from the Spirit without feeling lost and in want. Okay, all caps. If you feel separated from God, then you are going to feel lost and in want. Yeah, no, we've got thousands of years of history to tell us that. Psychology, sociology, anthropology, religion, spirituality, that it all says the same thing. This is why Jesus said he could do nothing of himself, but could work only as the currents of divinity ran through his personal mentality. Now that's an Ernest Turner phrase. The subtle something which runs through all things and which we call the thing itself, which there's a book called The Thing Itself, that energy without which nothing can be energized, that life without which nothing can live, that power without which nothing can move, and that spirit without which nothing can be, is God. And that honestly is barely scratching the surface of what God is, but it's the best we can do. It is only as we live in conscious union with the Spirit and consciously let it work through us that we really live. And on that note, I'm going to pause. And we are going to start tomorrow on 463 with the fallen man. Or, as I would say, the fallen person. So, Prodigal son. Ernest does this amazing job with the prodigal son that I really, really enjoy. So it looks like we have a little bit more on the prodigal son. So we'll keep going. All right. And I'm going to quick housekeeping because I don't have a whole lot of time. An easy way to support the center. Engage with our social media. Creative Life Spiritual Center, Creative Life Spark. I'm the Running Rev Ryan on the social medias that I am on. Please go like, subscribe, follow, share, comment. It bumps us in the algorithms. If you want more information about the center, please, the website is creativelife.org, or the constant contact email is email@creativelife.org. Okay, now I'm going to encourage you to have a great day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanted day, a wonderful day, an awesome day, an amazing day, a start wrapping up your week day, a stay out of the heat day, a drink plenty of water day, a take care of yourself day, a don't touch any metal in the middle of the day, have a good laugh day, a take care of business day, a take a nap day. It's apparently International Rest Day today. A cuddle your fur babies day, a call a good friend day, a have dinner with your family day, a good day. And if that is too much pressure, simply have a day. You are enough just as you are. You are a beloved expression of the divine. You are a brilliant light, a divine spark. You are spirit in motion. You are God in action, or as Reverend Jesse likes to call us, you are a godling. All right. Reverend David will be on around 5 p.m. with you. I will be back with you around 9 a.m. 9:15. 9:15. Let's be honest. 9:15. To dig some more into the prodigal son because it's a good story. And Ernest just has this really amazing take on it. Take care of yourself. Know that you are loved, and I will see you next time.